Accountability and coming to terms with doing something dumb is really hard, especially if you really didn't intend to be harmful. Athena walked up to the fence where all the kids over there are playing at recess, and it's the little kids. And there was several of them standing by the fence so they could see them. They like dogs, little kids. So I walked a little closer, and silly me, I know better. I was a teacher for a long time. These kids can't talk to me. But I just said, "Did you want to see her closer?" And they were, of course, like, "Yeah." And I'm not going to let them pet her, but the I'm on the verge of a migraine. I've already had one of the symptoms. Sometimes that gives me worse aphasia than normal. The recess monitor comes over and is like, no, kids, you can't talk to strangers. And he's like, they can't. And I'm like, no, I wasn't gonna let him touch the dog. She just likes kids. And then I walked away. And it's just like, my bad. That was a dumb thing that I did. I know better. But again, sometimes I'm not at my best. And I've got to take my lumps where they're earned. And in this case, getting a correction from a very important person on the playground is what I deserved. Obviously, you just heard me try to say recess 12 times. I'm not doing great today. And I normally wouldn't even do that. I've never done that. The whole time that school's been in session, we just walk by. We come much further away from where they're having recess because our breakfast is about that time. So we're out here around the same time a lot. But you know what? That was a dumb thing that I did. Don't talk to little kids at recess when you haven't been vetted. I have thought about becoming a substitute so I could come over here and sub at this school that's just right across the street from my house sometimes. Haven't done it yet, but it wouldn't take much. I've always been able to pass a background check. Duh. I don't even know what my hair's doing today. But that's, to me, the perfect entrance into what I wanted to talk about today on our pup walk, which is just because you didn't intend to cause harm doesn't mean you didn't. And just because you say, but I wasn't being mean, so it shouldn't hurt, doesn't make it actually true. I had a falling out with somebody who was a new friend, but I thought was going to be a good one because I disagreed with that person on a science that they like, that I don't. And I explained it's bad science because it's harmful. That's enough about that. And they called me disingenuous and said, "You're twisting words. This is not how we do debates in school. You were a teacher. You should know better." As if they knew what I was saying in the first place, but they proved that they didn't. And it was hurtful. It was really hurtful because I'm not disingenuous. I'm so authentic it hurts. And when people accuse me of being disingenuous or lying or misrepresenting, it sucks because I practice what I like to call radical honesty. And I don't do brutal honesty because I don't believe that brutality is necessary. But if I think something is wrong, I'm going to say it. And I'm going to explain why. And I did, but that wasn't enough. And you know what? I said that I was talking about myself and my own experience, and they said no. And the worst part about it is I know for a fact that they weren't intending harm. I know it because they aren't a bad person. And usually people aren't bad. And right and wrong doesn't really exist. It's why I prefer to use the terms correct versus incorrect, just because I think it's more open. Because right and wrong demands a moral imperative that simply doesn't exist. There is no one way in nature. Remember in Jurassic Park when they say nature finds a way? If there's a block to something nature wants, nature builds different options. There's just always a lot going on. Things are just more complex. There is no, and this is what gets me in trouble with people a lot. There is no black and white in reality. And black and white thinking is what causes a lot of harm to people. And the funny thing is, I had already been engaging in conversation with this person who is a good person and really didn't like how the conversation went, which I can respect. But I can't tolerate being mistreated without an apology. And sincere apology includes changed behavior and an empathetic acknowledgement of the harm caused. That being said, if they did, I'd welcome them back as a friend with open arms. But I have to have boundaries. But I had been talking about the different types of conflicts I'd gotten with women or femme people. And it's funny because I find that men or I'm going to say men because it's not queer people. It's not like trans people. It's a very patriarchal concept that's difficult to see if you're not the one on the outside, if you're the one in it. But that my way of thinking is the only way of thinking, and your way of understanding terms or science or this argument that we're having isn't valid. And if you're arguing with me, you must be disingenuous, because I know for a fact that my worldview can't be argued with. And that's a dude thing. That's truly a dude thing. And it happens the most when I bring up my science, because I am a 20-year veteran social scientist. And people don't even know that social science is a real science. It is. There's research, there's papers, there's journals, there's everything. I have 2 master's degrees in different social sciences and 1 bachelor's degree, and the rest of it's just applied experience. So it's like, I know how to do research. I've conducted my own. I have my own paper published, just 1. I'd like to do more, but I don't have the resources or access to an institution to get published in that way. You really have to be a part of it. There's a lot of gatekeeping in academia for if you're in poverty. Or you have to get deeper into poverty to have access to it. So it's not like I haven't written papers about it. It's just that a lot of my papers aren't published. But anyway, so that's that's a very specific dude conflict. The conflict I have with like women and femme people in general tends to be competition. This is a different kind of competition. With the dudes, it's like an academic, intellectual competition. Like they have to be the smart one in the conversation. That was both of my ex-husbands. That's been all of the bosses I've ever had a conflict with. Not the kids, not the colleagues who respect my intelligence and appreciate what I offer. Because what I offer is helpful and good science. It's for the people. Athena, don't go around that tree. Don't go around that tree. Around a tree. Don't go around that tree. But it's only ever been people who, and it's always dudes, in my experience. I'm not saying it can't happen. I'm just saying that's my experience. That's accurate to me only. And they are the ones who want to be smarter than me. And I just mean like paper smart, because there's other ways people are smarter than me. I'm just really paper smart. But with like women and femme folk, it's more competition for femininity, which I have very little. I don't have a lot of femininity. But because I got big tits and a big butt, I'm often seen as competition for like dudes. I don't even like most dudes. Most dudes don't like me. We just went over this. This happens a lot. Like the dudes who like me have healthy masculinity, and sadly there are less than them than there are of the other type. But anyway. And some of my absolute most cherished, closest friends are men. Absolutely cherished, who've been there through my divorces, through my the death of my mom, through job loss, through supporting me through this poverty, the people who have been there for me the most have been men. And so this is not because I hate men. I love the men who love me back. And honestly, I have love for the entire species, but in the sense that I want to preserve the species, not in that I have to, mourn their death if they're a Nazi, things like that. Like, there's boundaries to a healthy love dynamic. So I just say all that. No, seriously, I'm doing the calculations. My absolute truest best friends are dudes. Cisgendered, white dudes, actually. There's not a lot of... There are people of color in Utah, don't get me wrong, but there's not as much access. We don't have as much access to each other. But I welcome them with open arms. Anyway, so I say all of that to say, it's not that it's not possible. It's definitely possible. It's just, that's been my experience with conflict. And I don't want your men, women. I don't want them. I've been married to 2 men, and it has gone horribly, horribly wrong because I have pointed out their abuses to them, and they don't like that. And I have been smarter than them, and they didn't like that. And I have been more ambitious than them, and they didn't like that. And that's genuinely what caused a lot of the conflicts in both of my marriages. This is not an exaggeration. This is not fiction. This is just what happened to me. And I'm trying to figure out how to fix it, but at the same time, I guess that's kind of the goal of what I'm doing here, is because I don't want to lose friendships with men. I want to maintain friendships with men, but I want men to be safer to be friends with. And I want women to stop being competitive with each other because it's not helping. And that's what I've been noticing the most, is women are decentering men in their lives. And we tend to get along a lot better when they do. Because I'm like, listen, I don't want the men in your lives. I want to date you. I love women. Please. We're not competitors. I had a person I called a best friend stop being there for... Never really was there. I'll be honest. They weren't... I've been a sucker to a lot of mediocre friends because I don't know how to have friends because I moved around a lot as a kid. I never had a best friend growing up. I am not really friends with my siblings now, but they were my only friends that, because they traveled with me. So I'm still learning how to have friends. I am. So sometimes it's me. Sometimes I'm the fuck up. Sometimes I'm bad at following through. And sometimes I get lost in my own depression or my own bullshit, and I can't maintain contact, in a healthy way. Friendships need to be maintained like a goddamn plant. And my friendship garden lacks a lot of fertilization, I'll be honest, and that's on me. I'm still learning how. I was never taught. So sometimes I pick bad friends. And I just mean like they don't love me the same way I love them, and I've been used in that way before because I'm the kind of person that likes to throw it all in, just like right up front and say, can we be besties? All of it, all up front. And people tend to like that because then they don't have to do as much. But I lost this friend, and I have a theory that because the dynamic of our friendship changed significantly after I did a friends with benefits situation with a guy that they liked, but they're married. That's a complicated thing. And like, I didn't know that was gonna bother them, and it did. I figured it out because of the way that they treated me after. And they just kind of pulled away after that. And then when I was going through all the shit I was going through last year, they just weren't there for me at all. I'm going months without contact, even though I'm losing my career. I'm going through a divorce. My mom is dying. I'm literally going through the worst year of my life, and they just weren't there. And that's how I knew that it was a one-sided friendship. It's somebody teach me how to be a friend with people, as in, like, how do you maintain friendships without pissing people off? And at what point is me just disagreeing with something you like you being the problem, and at what point is it me? Maybe come have a conversation with me where we disagree and give me pointers on how to disagree in a kinder way to get people to listen to me better. I don't disagree well when people are being mean to me, or when I think people are being mean to me. I could be wrong. I get things wrong. And that's why I like correct versus incorrect better, because honestly, usually what it boils down to is a demand to be the right one in the conversation, which I personally don't need to be right, because I don't think right exists. Correct matters more to me. Is what you're saying correct? Is it doing good? Is it adding to the world? Is it part of the creation of a healthier, balanced human connection and condition? Cena, stop scratching your ear. You're going to get an infection. You know, I know it sounds like semantics, but this is why I don't like the vocabulary we tend to get stuck on, and I demand restructuring of language, because people wield words as weapons rather than to use to seek understanding. And despite the fact that I'm willing to sit and explain what I mean, people don't like to listen if I use a word wrong, in their opinion. And so, how do you keep friends? I'm not going to read that book, How to Make Friends and Influence People. I think stuff like that is dumb. And that's just because I'm a hater, not because that book is actually dumb. I also didn't like boy bands when I was a kid, because everybody liked boy bands, and I also have committed to my entire life to never purchasing an Apple product because it got too popular. So I am a avowed contrarian. I am a contrarian by nature. I have come by it honestly. I have always been this way. People call it oppositional defiance. I call it unwilling to follow any trend until I have examined the trend for myself and decide whether or not I like it. So tell me, teach me. I fuck shit up all the time. But again, I do have friends with men. In fact, all of my best friends, every single one of my closest friends are dudes. I'm thinking. No, I have wonderfully beautiful and well-loved lady friends too. So I just don't talk to them or see them as often. So when I say my closest, I mean literal, like, I also mean literally in the city and like around me, because all of my lady friends are like far away. And I miss them. I love them so much. And they're all beautiful. Why are women so beautiful? And these are women who don't feel competitive with me at all, and don't treat me in that way at all. And I want to shout out my lovely lady friends. It's just, I don't see you as much, and we don't get to talk as much. And I'm bad at that. That's a lot me. I'm bad at I have time blindness, like the real kind. Like, time passes me and I have no concept of it. I don't have concept of days. I do have concepts of seasons. Like, I feel the seasons as they pass. But time is the recording of time is relatively new, and I'm too old construct. I think I'm too functionally ancient in my DNA. And you know, DNA is memory, DNA is code, is like the memory sticks of our bodies. Hi. We've had a rough few days. I haven't been able to walk them much because I still have been sick, but I'm finally starting to feel better. And then I woke up today with do you ever get, I think it's a migraine symptom, but like a precursor, because migraines aren't always the headache. So I got one of the precursor symptoms to the headache, where my eyes were seeing like a zigzag of, you know, you know, on a TV static, when a TV shows static, if you're old enough to know that, or when there's like the wavy, different colored, like psychedelic colored kind of lines, that's a little crack in my vision opened up this morning, and that's how I knew. I was on my way to a migraine, so I've taken my medicine and I've taken my caffeine. That's like the best way to help a migraine for me. And ate some protein, and now we're on a walk and we're collecting some sunshine, but hopefully it's not too bad later. But sometimes when I have a migraine, it's really bad. Anyway, so, and it causes that weird aphasia I was talking about earlier. I know this is weird and rambly, and I want to say to that person who I was talking about, with all the love in my heart, I miss you. I hope that you can see how you hurt me, because I think that we'll be the best of friends if you can. Because I think that if you can begin to understand how and why I said what I said, you can understand that if you talk about things like weight, being fat, things like that, it's really personally harmful to me. I've been personally violated by medical mistreatment through fatness. I've been harassed online for saying things about being fat. I have been personally harmed by my parents. Fat phobia. I'm 215 pounds. I'm 5'7". I'm built out of fucking concrete. Like, I don't care. Look at my body. Oh, I got a fat body because the BMI is trash and they call me fat, but also I'm goddamn buoyant. My people evolved to float and to be sturdy on ships, and that's how I'm built. And I'm trying to tell you these things because I want you to understand that I wasn't disagreeing with the science that you like. I was disagreeing with the application of it and how it caused harm to me, myself. And when I said that you were talking about me, you told me no. But you were. And that was a weird thing to do. But I really enjoyed everything else about our day. It's just a shitty way to end things. That happens. Anyway, consider that my ramble for the day, I guess. This one's a weird one. It's always a weird one when I'm having a migraine because my brain is full of these clouds. Also, it rained and thundered today, and now there's blue sky. The weather is like my mind. My mind reflects the weather. I am far too connected to this planet. No, that's probably a good thing. That's why I love her so much. Anyway, give your love to my babies. And tell me what a dum-dum I am, and give me good feedback in the comments if you feel so inclined. I'll listen to the good shit.